For this episode, the bladesmiths will be forging in the soaking sun.
Today, you'll be using coal forges. Forging on coal forges in direct sunlight is going to make it difficult for you to judge the temperatures of your steel. Your job is to harvest the steel that you need from those tools to make one of these. Classic chef's knife.
Time starts, and I want my steel first. I grabbed a brush axe.
That's smart. It's like, I'm going for the essentially kitchen knife on a stick.
I've got a fair amount of experience running them, but I never forge in direct sunlight. That's a very difficult challenge.
I'm building coal up, it's smoking, and I'm a little stressed out.
Oh, look at Cade swing that hammer.
I started out as a blacksmith, and so I'm very good at forging to finish. I'm trying to prove that I'm also a good bladesmith.
When I forge a knife, I always forge from the tip of the knife to the handle, and that's the way that I can keep things proportional with the chef's knife.
30 minutes, bladesmiths.
Trying to stretch this out, and I see this little spot where I've ground through. Oh man, this is bad. At this point, I'm just trying to get this done and make sure it's strong.
I start going for the quench. I'm going edge down so that I can kind of leave a softer spine. And it looks straight. Put a file on it, skates across.
I'm getting ready to heat treat my knife, and my fire is just a little circle in there. When you want to do like a quench, you need to get the whole blade like evenly heated.
Oh, this is cool. So it looks like Stephen is making a trough, concentrating his fire with the fire bricks so that he can get a better even heat on his steel.
Looks like Stephen just quenched.
I look at it, it's pretty straight. I'm happy.
3, 2, 1. This first round of competition is over.
Now, to test the strength and durability of the edge, Ben is going to ham on some rolling pins.
Stephen, you're up first.
I'm ready.
Your blade, it held up beautifully. And there's no glinting, there's no wiggle, there's no nothing. Ben, are you ready?
All right.
There's no glinting, no rolling, no nothing. I wish you could have gotten a little taller on here. Still as straight as it was coming into this. Not dead straight. All right, Cade, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Your edge held up great. Your knife is still dead straight, so well done.
Thank you.
Now it's time to find out just how sharp the edges of your chef's knives are. This is the sharpness test, the fish slice. Stephen, you're up first. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Safety gear first. The edge you have here is ground perfectly for this kind of test. Overall, sir, it'll cut.
Thank you.
All right, Ben, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir.
When you're cutting with this, you can cut all the way through. The edge is very sharp. Are you ready, Cade?
Yes, sir.
The edge sliced easily through the fish. Overall, sir, it will cut.
Thank you.
This is a difficult decision for us to make. Bladesmith leaving the forge is. Ben, your blade didn't make the cut. Please surrender your blade.
I've turned in a blade that was a good performing, sharp knife, but it's not the knife they asked for.
For this episode, one of the bladesmith's knives was not sharp enough.
What you have there are bars of 80 CRV2 steel, which we want you to use in the core of the San Mai blade. Today, we want you to wrap your San Mai in this. We have bars of 1095 and 15N20 steel that I want you to make Damascus billets out of. Gentlemen, you have 3 hours on the clock. Good luck.
First thing, you gotta grab hold of that Damascus and get it shined up. But I'm gonna use the whole stack so I can get the layer count.
I'm only gonna do 14 layers. I feel that's plenty of steel.
Once I get the billet welded up, I just head right for the forge. The first weld's always the most important, so I'm not gonna push this billet too far. The welds look good. I'm super happy with it.
That's a good color. It looks very even throughout. That'll do.
I definitely feel really good about my Damascus billet, that it is welded up solid, so I can go ahead and do my San Mai billet now.
Now that I have the Damascus, the thickness that I want, I'm gonna cut it to nice 6-inch pieces, just like the core steel.
I got my stacks, and I've got the 80 CRV2. I'm gonna set the welds on my San Mai.
The tang is at a good shape. With time running out, I know I need to get over to the forge and start doing my heat treat.
Yeah, Max is actually using an interesting technique. Instead of just cutting a tip in,
You rounded the edges. Smart move.
I want to make very sure that I don't overheat the tip. The tip can overheat very easily. Pull my knife out of the oil. I have no big issues. All I need to do is grind.
I'm trying to forge in my tip, get that done, and then I'm going to start on my handle.
Grinds in the oil.
It all worked out the way I wanted it to. The hell with it. I'm going over to the grinder.
Max is in the quench.
I pull out the blade and it's dead straight. I'm super happy with it.
3, 2, 1. Gentlemen, put down your tools, because this round is over.
Time for the strength test that is divided in two parts, copper and wood chop.
Max, you're up first. How you feeling?
I think you're about to void the warranty.
Good job, you survived, man. Everything's still straight, everything's tight. Good job.
Thank you.
It's always fun for the second guy, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, yeah. I'm good.
She still lives. Good job with paracord. Built up the handle a little bit more and gave me a good grip. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Chris, you're up. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Chris, you survived. Good job.
Thank you.
Your edge is fine. You stayed strong and survived. Good job.
It's time for the sharpness test, focusing on the sharpness of the edges and how well they cut through these Tatami mats.
Max, you're up first. You ready for this?
Sure.
It cut almost all the way through. Overall, sir, your weapon, you will cut. Brian, are you ready?
You know, tear her up, you mad dog.
All right, will do. Your edge is razor sharp enough to cut through both mats. Overall, sir, your weapon, you will cut. Chris, your turn, sir. You ready?
Yes, sir.
On the first Tatami mat, although it didn't cut all the way through, it's a longer cut with the angle I was cutting at with your blade. Overall, sir, your weapon, you'll cut.
In this double trouble competition, only 2 can move forward. And the bladesmith leaving the forge is Max. Unfortunately, the blade's not making the cut today. It was awesome watching your work. You absolutely know what you're doing. You have what it takes to fight in the forge. I'm gonna have to ask you to please step off the forge floor.
Well, thank you. The whole journey's been amazing, really. It's just something I don't do every day, so it was just a fun challenge.
For this episode, the bladesmiths will make a short dagger.
A jambia. It must be an effective version of this weapon that is between 8 and 10 inches in length. Your 3 hour starts now.
Game plan is first, get the stock reduced down to a size that I can work. This is gonna be really hard, especially in 3 hours. The grinder's where I'm gonna put in the medial ridge. I've gotta not grind the ridge, but I have to grind everything else away so there is a ridge. It's probably the hardest grind I've ever done.
Wow. I've never made a jambia before. You know, now I gotta make one. The hardest part about it is creating that central spine.
This quench has to be the quench. File test it, and it skates. I'm excited.
I have to make a jambia. I've seen lots of them. I'm familiar with the form. They're not really easy to make. I can't let the key feature, this medial ridge, be an afterthought. It's got to be my priority for this knife, so I forge it to shape.
Heat it up, normalize it, break it, look at the grain inside. Do that maybe a couple of times to make sure that the knife turns out the way I want it.
Quench it a second time.
Not good, better. Looking good. Bladesmith, shut down your machine. Stop what you're doing. This round of competition is over.
First round is over, so now the bladesmiths have to turn the blades fully functional jambias by attaching handles to them.
You can only use natural materials, and you must include 4 florets on your jambias.
First thing I do is I make 4 holes in 2 pieces of relatively thin brass, and I need to make this look like a flower. Jay's gonna be brutal on this, so I have to make sure that it's comfortable and isn't gonna hurt a judge's hand.
It's go time. I gotta get these stupid florets attached to my hand. The ideal scenario for attaching florets is having plenty of pin stock to peen over, like Matt. I have my florets attached now, but I haven't sharpened my blade.
Once my slabs are cut and flattened, I need to put some holes in my knife. If the steel's too hard, there's only one thing to do.
Chris is trying to kill the temper on that hole.
Once I have the florets fitted up, I realize I've made a critical mistake.
Chris is just realizing now that his florets aren't going to lay flat.
The pins are glued there. There's no starting over with that. The handle, it's enormous. It's too fat. It's going to be really uncomfortable.
Ready, Matt?
No.
Your handle's comfortable. It's a good size. Overall, very good job. How are the nerves doing, Aaron?
Not too good, sir.
Your blade edge survived the horn. Good job on your heat treat. So after seeing that, how you feel, Chris?
Let's get this over with.
Well, Chris, I cannot hold it comfortably like this at all. And I put a ton of strain on my wrist. Your edge held up. Good work on that.
Thank you.
Sharp edge should cut easily through this rib rack. Matt, you're up first. You ready for this?
I gotta be.
This is a very sharp edge. Not only did it cut the muscles in between the ribs, it cut the bone. Aaron, your turn. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Your edge on the outer curve right here is sharp to cut through bone. And your jambia, it will cut.
Thank you.
Chris, you're up next. You ready?
Yes, please.
Your blade is sharp enough to cut through ribs. But overall, sir, your jambia, it will cut.
Thank you.
Chris, your blade didn't make the cut.
Chris, your blade is sharp. It's a good blade, but the handle is totally uncomfortable.
Please surrender your blade.
The first thing I'm going to do when I get home is hug my family, tell them I love them, thank them for their support, and then take a really long nap.
For this episode, the bladesmiths will make a double-edged dagger from ancient India.
Congratulations, gentlemen. You've both made it to the final round. Now we're sending you back to your home forge to forge an iconic blade from history. The halati. Ooh. It must be an effective working version of that weapon. Additionally, each blade must have a counter recurve and a centered, unguarded handle. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
Good luck, Steve.
Feeling amazing. I made it to the finals, and I get to make a really awesome weapon. Got my blade the length I want to. Now I'm moving on to the handle. Oh, yeah. It's the end of day one, and I feel like I'm a step ahead of the game.
The plan for today is to get the Damascus ready and hopefully get a couple welds in on it. Even though I've got like 37 years experience, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to go for like 120 layers. It'll give me a bold pattern. I think it'll look really nice.
It's day two. I've got pretty much all the grinding done. This is my first time having this much riding on the quench. I hope nothing goes wrong. Survived. Feeling good.
It's already day 3. Let's see what Ray'll do.
Whatever I do to one blade, it has to be exactly like the other blade. And that can be a challenge in itself. Whenever you're dealing with Damascus, it's a risky business. It doesn't always turn out right. Nobody makes perfect Damascus every time they make it.
It's day 4, and pretty much all I got left to do is glue on the handle, polish that up. I'm going for like a vine pattern on the file work, just to give it an elegant design, a little something extra. It's just about ready to glue. I only got 5 minutes to get everything where I want it to be because of the epoxy. This is the first bump in the road I run into, and I feel a time crunch. The glue's all set up, and looks like there's no gaps. I'm very proud of this weapon.
First thing I'm going to do today is sharpen the blades up before I assemble them onto the handle. I came here to prove that I could compete at a really high level, and I think that I did that. All right, it's ready to go.
Now it's time to see how they hold up in our weapons test. Up first is the sharpness test.
To see how sharp your weapons are, I will take your blade and deliver multiple cuts and stabs to this canvas bag. Ray, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm really proud of this knife. I mean, it turned out really well.
I like the design of your blade. It feels good in the hand. I love your recurve and Damascus pattern that you have on both ends of your blade. The belly of your blade slashed nicely on the canvas, and this blade will cut. Good job. Steven, you're up next. You ready?
Hell yeah.
We have a big problem here. We specifically asked for a recurve on each blade. These blades are not recurved. Your blade does not have that S-shaped recurve that we're looking for. We cannot move on to test your blade.
Therefore, since your weapon cannot be tested fairly and evenly, I must ask you to please leave the forge.
Still feel really proud of my work. It's just I failed to see the one small detail.
Ray, congratulations. You are the Forge and Fire champion and will be receiving a check for $10,000. Good job.
Being Forge and Fire champion, it's really nice, especially at my age. I just sold a knife for 10,000 bucks. That's the best part.
Subscribe for more.